What's up, guys? We are here with Alex, Logan, and Collin Kaiser. They just took first and second place playing Gillian Corona in the Argent Saga Championship for Columbus. So Alex said that this was pretty much built by Collin, so he's going to give us more of an in-depth explanation on it, and we'll go from there. So let's get into the deck.
Yeah, so I've had a few people ask me about the deck, and obviously since it's something other than Hawaiian Kite right now that's winning, people want to know what's going on, right? So we'll start with what we're playing Corona for. As normally you see Gillian with Sola, right, with the Hikaris and the finishing raise, and just being on as hard of a control as possible. The Corona still gives you that option, but still gives you one of the most powerful spells in the game, if not the most powerful spell in the game. So I'm playing two Kasais. It's just kind of the best removal spell other than the next one being Molten Explosion. We go with 3 Moltens instead of 3 Kasais because this card can hit Rudy and it doesn't require things to be attacking. And honestly, in a lot of the games that we played, there were very few ones that we actually got to less than 2 towers, just because the deck playing Gillian is so defensive, it's really hard to break through unless you're applying that early pressure. And then lastly, we're playing 3 Void Fires. Obviously the namesake of the deck, the reason why Corona is here.
So one of the big differences between your guys' deck was Alex was only playing 2. Is there a reason why you wanted to play 2 instead of playing 3? Like, what was it?
I ran into 4 Liam decks or 3 Liam decks in that giant card event, and it was a little scary, so I was like, I think I want a little more anti-aggro hate. Also, you can't draw the void thing, whatever it's called, the void thing off of Gillian, unless you have to end with 7, draw to 8, and then activate it, which never happened once. So it was also a brick on Gillian. So I just thought, you know what, I'd rather just have the anti-aggro spell. If this wasn't Collin's card, I would take it out of the sleeve and rip it in half. Garbage, trash, absolutely useless. I cast it.
What do you think about that, Collin?
It's not a good card. I mean, there just isn't any other option in red.
Yeah, you just have to play, it kills golem tokens.
Yeah, whenever I tried, it's just the fact that the deal 15 is you can only do that for the attacking or blocking target. It's not the 2000. It just doesn't get there. It doesn't get with the. If they were both 2000s, I think it'd be a bit better.
Yeah, well, that would make all the difference.
It would be good.
It would actually be a lot better. But nothing is 15. The golem tokens are 15. I'd probably cast it arbitrarily a total of maybe 5
It just sits in your hand as a Gillian +1 for the.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you run into situations where they attack with their Avarice, and you're looking at this Kasai, even with 2 destroyed towers, it's like, okay, best case, it's just a worse Molten Explosion. Okay. So,
this card was juiced, though.
Yeah, so this card is fantastic. It's just does everything that you need it to. As I said, it gets rid of Rudy, which is the #1 thing that the Gillian Sola deck has issues with, is unless they're playing Finishing Ray or Chronostasis, that Rudy will sit there the entire game.
It'll just keep getting bounced.
And it'll just keep getting value until they lose it all. So that's what we're playing for the red cards. So far, I can't think of anything I would want to change from my list, at least. Every card had its purpose and everything was really good. Starting with the creatures, we obviously have the namesake of the card, Mayu. Any blue deck, it's going to have a Mayu in it. It's just very strong.
That's the card that makes all the magic happen, right? All the deck lockouts.
Exactly. I mean, combined with all the other creatures we have in the deck, as well as all the spells, you play Mayu, you get a Void Fire, you play it, blow up a Augment, blow up a unit, blow up a Shard, and then maybe a tower if you know that it's safe to at the time.
It also gives you access to playing Void Fire on turn 6, opposite of
exactly.
And turn 8.
Right.
So that's pretty big.
It's usually the best case scenario. I like to play it on 7 if you have a Mr. Kins out as another one of the creatures that helps support the deck. You can use Ancient Serpent's Breath on your Kins to kind of save your Mayu, because it's always scary running out your Mayu and then maybe it can get Chronostasis or Sylphiad, so you want to try and protect it from that. So I tend to only play the Mayu once I have some way to bounce it. You only need one way to bounce it, so you can do it on 7 if you have a 1-drop in play, or you can do it on 8 with like a Mizu or anything of that nature.
Okay.
So we played 3 Mr. Kins. Honestly, if it probably the second best card in the deck, I would like to give it the title of the best card in the deck, but unfortunately Mayu has to take it.
That's the head of Exodia. These are the
this is
I
would definitely give it the legs. This is the card that holds the deck up. It's just so good. It does everything, like literally everything on a 1-drop. Looking at the top 2 cards so that you know what to hit off of Gillian. It lets you just filter through your deck super quickly.
It beats in multiples. It scouts all the towers. And when you have 3, you can break all the towers, and you can just protect them so well too with all your bounce spells. So like that's one thing. Like so they either have to focus their mana on and their creatures on either like trying to trade these guys off if there's multiples of them, or they have to target your towers, but they can't do both. So like when they run at these guys with their creatures, that just gives you time. You just bounce your own guys back and you just get extra time. And if they're not dealing with these guys, you just get to keep going in and breaking towers with them. This card's insane. I honestly think it's like, I guess this is the best card in the deck simply because of how powerful it is, but this is the best card. Like in my opinion, this is like close to the best card.
Non-Argent.
Mr. Kins.
Best. Like this is an exception because it's a one-of. Like this card is nuts. Like
and if anyone watched the finals between our match, then the
Mr.
way it
Kins
always
is
ended, all 3 games, Mr. Kins went in for the final hit.
Yep.
Because you just void fire, you break all 5 of their towers, and then
the squad just keeps going.
Mr. Kins just gets in for 500, gets in for 500,
Yeah.
gets in for 500. So yeah, Mr. Kins, fantastic. Then we also play 3 Juggernauts. As just another kind of workhorse, it stops your opponent dead in their tracks, lets you stall until you get to probably what is the strongest late game in the game right now. I can't think of a deck that has a better turn 8, 9, 10
than literally breaking a tower in their crystal. And
being able to turn your opponent off of their shards is just really strong. Even if you're only breaking 1 or 2 shards, the difference is
just a question awesome. Since I don't really understand the deck 100%. I haven't played against it. Did you ever void fire Desolation more than 5 times? Just to break their crystals down?
In my top 4, I think I have the record right now. I don't know how far you got down.
I got to 5 against who's the kid, your friends, the red-haired kid?
Tommy.
Oh, Tommy.
Yeah. I got Tommy down to 5, and then he conceded. Okay. That's the furthest I got.
Yeah, so I got Joe Gray and Swiss down to 5, but then my top 4 on stream, actually, I got my opponent down to 3 shards.
What? You
3 shards.
Shards. Yeah. Disgusting.
So he'd broken most of my towers at the time, so he was still playing, trying to get in, but then he
so
like.
Was that just like I'm gonna just like do this for the memes, just like to see?
I mean, more or less.
Could you like picture yourself breaking all 10 and just like sitting there and just like laughing?
I was certainly keeping a tally in my head. I'm not gonna lie.
You're like, oh wow, he's letting me do this and he's not giving up.
Yeah, he conceded game 1, didn't he?
He eventually conceded game 1.
So it's kind of like.
But I mean, obviously, with how the time rules work right now, you're trying to win game 1, and then in turn 2 or in game 2, if you can win, then great. I did have a couple of matches I was able to finish, but generally speaking, they're not going to be able to kill you in time in game 2 after you win game 1.
Okay, cool. Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, the next and last creature we have, we played 2 Kakos. He just lets you recycle whatever you need, specifically Mayu. There are lots of times where we'll run out of Mayu, especially against Hoenn Kite. Their only real answer is double Dust Strike. They can do it at kind of a weird time, and afterwards, once they do that, you usually let it happen, slam your Kako, put Mayu back on top, and it's just keep it going, keep it rolling, you know? And yeah, other than that, it's one of the ways to prevent deck out, which is really important. So yeah, he's really good. Then last one we have for a neutral card, or I guess things that Gillian does not draw, is 1 statue. It's just kind of a just in case. If something really bad goes, then you can shuffle back your Kakos and your Mayu, and that'll generally be enough. I maybe used it like once or twice. I think I used it once in the Swiss just to shuffle my deck because Mayu got Chronoed or Sylphia.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But
so you got emergency.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the slot at 1. I don't think you really need more than that. We never ran into the issue of needing more than 1 statue.
Cool.
But yeah, that's it for those. Then we'll start with the spells. 2 Phantasmal Guards. This is one of the 3 cards that I had difference from Alex's list. He was playing 3 of this card, I was playing 2. I just didn't see as much of a need to have all the anti-aggression, and I think Phantasmal Guards is one of the weaker cards if it's not against one of like the Liam decks or Drago Holt decks or something of that nature, you know?
Like I said, I was shook because I played
Yeah.
Ben Lodi's actually beat me in time because it was 30 minutes best of 1, but we actually finished the game out. I said, hey, let's do this like it was 50, you get the win, but let's just finish like it. You and me play the rest of this game like on our own.
Did you
and
won?
I did win.
Okay.
Yes. I probably only won because his last Wrath was the second to last card in his deck, but I did in fact deck him out.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the other difference that we had, I played 2 shards the winner instead. Again, he played 3. This is probably the only change I would make moving forward with the current format, is I would bump it up to 3 shards. I would probably still keep it at 2 guards and only play one of the card that I played, which is Cryptic Secret. Going into the event, I wanted something that can shuffle my deck. In a worst case, I can like shuffle a guard token or something of that
your
nature.
Own deck? I don't.
Yeah. If you target one of your own guys.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I should have played that. That's not probably the only card. Like, I should have played a 3rd Void Fire and one of the. I wouldn't play 2. I think 2 is too much, but I would play one of that. I should have played one of that.
Yeah. So I think one, and I would just make this Sharded Winner.
Yeah.
And then Shards of Winter is just very good against everything. So
I'm
this
still
definitely works
personally
great.
shook not playing 3 of this. Like, it is actually really useless. Like I will agree it was pretty useless beyond like turn 2, but like I don't know, it was good enough.
Yeah. So those are the only differences we had between our lists. Everything else is the same, and it's everything else we got is just bounce spells. So we got 3 Ancient Serpent's Breaths, we got Tidal Rushes, we got Mizus, and we got Reactive Runes. These are kind of the 12 cards that you can use to recycle your Mayu or just kind of tempo out your opponent. The less towers that you have broken throughout the game, the better. It doesn't have what green does and being able to play Kaze if you tap out. So sometimes you need to tap out for your Void Fire or Mayu or something like that, and you want to have as many towers as possible so that their Watchwomen and stuff like that can maybe get a tower or 2, but not enough to change the course of the game. So we play these 12, and they're all very, very good. Just at any point in the time or in the game, you need them. Bounce your Mayu, bounce their stuff. Because you have so many of them, you can use them whenever you need to or whenever you find it convenient. Then we also play 1 Return to Slumber. This is just kind of a weird techie card that has definitely earned its spot. Sometimes you can get to a weird state where you just put your opponent's units on top that don't do anything. I did it against my opponent who had like 2 or 3 Shard Beasts. I'd broken his water tower and he'd broken mine. I put all of them on top of his deck, and his next 3 draws were just completely dead. It's really, really good. And beyond that, you can also just target your Mayu to put it on top as just another thing to recycle everything that you got going on in this deck. And then lastly, we got 3 Chronostasis as just kind of a catch-all to everything. Juggernaut's one of the #1 problem cards for the deck, as you can't really Void Fire into it because you can't destroy it. And whatever shard you target, they're going to charge right into the bottom.
Yeah, that was my only way of beating it in the regional when I was playing a Gillian Sola. It was just like, okay, well, this hurts, but like it's not the end of the world. And
So we found the best way, or at least the way I handled it, was either you Chronostasis at the bottom, and if that's not an option, then you can just use all your bounce spells on it, and it's kind of like Void Firing them, except it's not gone permanently because they have to shard drain every turn just to keep it on board, knowing that if they don't, then they're losing, instead of losing that shard temporarily, they're losing it permanently. So yeah, this is the deck profile. It's a very, very good list. If you got a regional or something coming up with this format, even locals, I would give it a shot. It is very, very
Did you guys play the same side deck?
No, we didn't really use the side deck at all.
You didn't
I
need...
played 12 cards. So.
Okay, so basically side deck's pretty much irrelevant.
We sideboarded the...
Anything that
It
you
wasn't
felt like
really
mattered
for me.
out of it?
I sided. So every game 2 versus Helena where the clock was 30 or lower, I went into all the late cards. Most of the late cards don't matter. The only thing that matters is Wrath on 4, because what your opponent is going to do is
Super
a lot
aggro.
of people thought that how they had to win in time was they had to just side in all their 1-drops, because a lot of people are siding 1-drops in Helena and just try to like ape you down. And one part where it does get a little rough is like when they go really, really wide, sometimes their creatures are more efficient than your spells are, because most of your things cost 2, and if they're just playing like a bunch of shard beasts, like, or 1-drops that can break the little towers, it can get a little bit scary sometimes, especially since you don't get to Chrono till 6, and like if they have Sylvia, you can't even like rely on Jugs.
Yeah, that was actually almost like, not word for word, but like our strategy, like for the team war thing, like we talked about, like, okay, well before we found out it was a best of 1, we're like, okay, well, do you go really wide and just like they don't have the finishing ray? It was like, you don't have finishing ray in the main deck, so the only way to really win is to rush you down so hard that you can't.
So the real way to actually beat this deck is hand looping them. That's what that's the mistake that a lot of people make. It's like when you go in a sideboard, yeah, you can win trying to like ape them down, but the real way you beat this deck is you just hand loop as hard as you possibly can.
3 big goal and the 3
even the UI is the real best one.
I mean, I think proper use of Avarice is the
And
number
Yamis,
one thing.
yeah.
And Yamis. I see a lot of people just like slamming their Avarice on 3 against this deck. If you really want the best chance to beat it, wait until later, because if you make me discard a card when I have 7 in hand, that's not really going to do anything. I'm just going to use my Gillian, get back up to 7. It's like the card didn't do anything, you know?
You also have to put the deck in a position where like, so sometimes I'm scared to lose stuff to random discard. Even 7 cards in hand, like I got to do stuff like we got to try to hide our Mayu, where we're like when we bounce it, we try to put it on top, or like we try to hide key cards on top of our deck using like Ancient Serpent's Breath, or like using the Shard Drain effect of Mayu. We don't want to lose key cards in the deck, so like having them in hand is scary. It's also important when you're revealing, you never accidentally reveal Mayu, because like personally, a lot of times when I would run Demon Out, unless they have multiples of something, I just blind name Mayu every single time.
Yeah.
And but that's the nice thing about Keiko is like a lot of times if they do hit Mayu, they have to tap out to, like they have to play Vengeance or something to really get Mayu, and then they're tapped out, and then you're like, okay, Keiko, it goes back on top.
So I can literally count 3 or 4 games that I played throughout this tournament where my opponent slammed Vengeance on 6 and looked at my hand that had both a Keiko and a Mayu, and they're like, I guess I take the Mayu, and I just put it back on top and continued doing what I was doing. You know, they stalled me for a turn, and that's about it.
The nice thing too about having a shard that sucks is you can always use Corona Ruby.
Yes. Did any of you ever flip Corona to give something quickness to win?
Oh yeah, multiple times. Multiple times, especially because it's the only way to actually get natural quickness out of the deck. That's how I killed Alex in game 2 very, very quickly, just by void firing all his stuff down.
And then you swung with Kins for game with swiftness.
Yeah, exactly. So it was, it just does what you need it to. Obviously, it doesn't have any static effects. It just kind of sits there and says, hey, you get to play Void Fire, which turns out makes it the best spirit for Gillian.
Okay. Are you guys, like, so obviously we're going into set 2 very shortly. This deck is probably not going to be relevant, right, with all the hyper aggro stuff that we're expecting to see in Repro Bloom.
Yeah.
What do you guys, are you hyped for set 2? Are you scared for set 2? Like, what do you guys think
I think
overall?
It'll be a very different game. It's really hard for me to expect for any deck to continue on, but I think it potentially has it.
We saw some pretty crazy spoilers in the past couple of days. What's your favorite one? Like, what do you guys? What do you think is the strongest card coming out of
the strongest
that
card?
you like? Maybe not strongest, but like, what's your favorite? What's the one card that like you're like
the most excited to play with?
Yeah.
Maybe. The card I think I have the most affinity is the 2-drop white spell, where you draw cards equal to the number of units you control.
Oh,
and
okay.
your opponent discards equal to the number of them. I think that card's very, very strong. Obviously, with Repro Bloom and all that, but I don't think it's like the strongest card in the set. It's just one that looks very
piques your interest a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
The 4-drop that says when a guy bounces back to your hand, give something quickness. If that's not broken next set, that has to just be broken at some point. That card reads insane. There has to just be some weird combo deck where you can just like pop off on your opponent with that, especially in like a mono air. So that's an interesting card that I'm looking forward to. I don't actually know it's good next set, but it definitely seems like a card to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, now that we're done with this championship, we got about a month or so to test for the next one in Orlando. You'll definitely see us there, as we're both Florida locals, so
oh, that's awesome.
Not too far of a drive for us, at least.
Well, I did promise we'd give big old True Duelist shout out right here. Alex repping his team. They do have Patreon, guys. I'm gonna put the link in the description of the video. Only a couple bucks a month, and you guys get to see all the lists that they're playing and all the texts. You can talk to them, all that good stuff. and basically get some knowledge on the game. So shout outs to them. And that was your first like or first Argent championship for the team too. So that's pretty huge.
Yes, that was.
You guys were killing it.
Counts the 10K in Gen Con, but
Yeah,
yes,
that's
that was, if you don't count those, yes, that was the first. Which I already posted in my chat. I said, "Hey guys, I was the first one."
And you love that, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
They're gonna put me in that little Hall of Fame thing on the website.
Awesome.
Like,
Oh, am I in
absolutely.
that? Oh, am I in that? Oh, I didn't even know. Okay. But congrats to both you guys. Amazing deck, dude. We all thought that it was going to be a meme. Me and my friends actually made this big joke like 3 months ago, how everybody is probably playing Hoenn Kite, and Jeff Jones is probably sitting at home like Gillian Corona is the best deck, and no one even realizes it.
Yeah.
And like that's like it happened. Like I didn't think that was going to ever happen in my life.
It actually was kind of interesting that like Matt. That's what Jeff's boyfriend ended up playing too. So how this deck actually came to be was I was sold on Jonathan Ball's deck. I've been talking to him about the changes for a week. He just ran the train on me at the airport, like 5-0 with Hoenn Kite, and I was like, okay, who did he beat? Like
That's what happened to me.
So he goes, hey, I have an idea. Why don't you put in Corona, put in Void Fire, and just a bunch of random like red removal spells, and let's see how that does. And I was like, okay, sure. I guess we'll do
You're like,
that.
wait
Had a few hours at the
And then
airport before we went to get
I
lunch.
cracked like 3 games in a row against him. I lost.
Was
only
that like
one.
on the way here? So you like decided to play this here, or was
Yeah,
this
Like
last
this was
week?
literally he
Yeah,
came up
at
with
the
this
airport.
idea like last minute. Was like, hey,
Why is
let's
that always
try
happen
Corona.
like that?
I played one game with this against John Tata, and before the event, and I was like, yeah, this is probably fine.
He was gonna play Big Liam before. Like
Yeah, I was gonna play probably Big Liam before, but yeah.
Well,
Obviously this
instead
one,
we
I
innovated.
took
We
over.
saw another crazy deck in Top Cut
Yeah,
too.
I saw this
Hoenn Corona. So this is like the event of Corona for some reason when no
Yeah.
one ever thought it would be. So
When Ruka's the entry promo, it only makes sense.
yeah,
right?
it does make sense. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate the deck profile, and hopefully we will see you guys at Orlando.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Definitely at the top tables again.
Peace out, guys. Bye.